alone, I keep a bone for these girls who like me back when green was low. Feel me though, TV all my thoughts and make your TiVo grow.
Wow. Wow. That was an excellent episode. To me, I don't even know if that dude, what did he say his name was? Willie, I think, out in the woods was real. I'm sure he was. He might not have been. That makes me think of Teddy Perkins, because everybody's convinced that one of them either wasn't real or one of them was the dad, whatever. But in this episode, that was his. I feel like Willie could have been a representation of his will to survive. It pushed him to get out of there because he was about to lay down and just give up out there in the woods. Who knows, maybe until morning and something else dangerous could have happened to him. But the manifestation of Willie literally put a box cutter to his neck and said, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to get up and run and make a decision and get out of here, or I'm going to get you. And he fought to get out of there with absolutely everything that he had. And going back to the conversation that he was having with the girl named Sierra, she was saying stuff about, oh, all these girls on Instagram are tanning and getting lip injections and getting this and getting that. I gotta wear makeup, I gotta keep up this image, I gotta keep up this appearance. And Alfred was basically like, I'm not about that fake stuff. I am who I am, you know? And that has been something that's been happening since the show started. Back in the Nobody Beats the Beads episode, you know, that reporter wouldn't interview him because he wasn't Justin Bieber, you know? He's not a poster boy for like a sweetheart. And they're just telling him to like play his role, play his position of being, he had just been in jail for a shooting or whatever that had happened earlier in the season, and people are trying to paint him in a box, and he's going to remain true to who he is. Of course, the situation with him getting robbed and beat up today was out of his control, but still, the fact that a little white kid walked up on him in a gas station and recognized who he was and asked if he could take a picture with them because he knows that his supporters are who have made him what he is today. He took a picture. He didn't have his chain on, his hoodie was covered in blood, he had leaves and twigs in his hair, and he stopped in that moment to take a picture with the fan, you know? And everybody's been telling him, you cannot be what you were, you know? And that chick Sierra today even said, you're rich and you're on the radio, you're fake. I think that when somebody gets famous, it's who they are that makes them stand out from the crowd, what they stand for, what they believe in, what they have to say. So if that's what puts you where you are, why would you jeopardize that and change who you are and become what somebody up in some corporate office wants you to be? You need to remain true to who you are. And I think that him taking that picture, a selfie all up in his face with a young kid in a convenience store, it is showing that he is a dude from the streets. You know, he is who he is. Things happen to him. He's still living where he was living. He ain't stuck up out in no Hollywood Hills, you know? I know that picture is going to be seen. He's going to put that up on Instagram. He's going to put it up on his Snap. He's going to put it up on all his social media. And I think that picture will further his authenticity. And that's what he wants, you know? I knew, any kids in what's the year? In 2018, 2017, whenever they filmed this, any kids that are hanging out by the woods and some train tracks are up to no good. I know that they recognized him, but everybody recognizes him. So I knew something bad was about to happen. I was nervous for him. Hey, y'all. Okay, so I'm back. I unfortunately was, I'm a little behind on filming this, and Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, Atlanta. I mean, I usually, like I said, I get to record this normally, but I made sure not to get on any social media last night or this morning so nothing would be spoiled about this episode. And I just watched it, and I'm obsessed with Uproxx. I think they write incredible articles, and I was reading Uproxx episode review written by Alan Spenwall. And he said something that I want to talk about that maybe I forgot since last season. But Al's mother is dead. Okay? And Al, at the very beginning of the episode, he was asleep. And we saw a woman, his mother, in the kitchen cleaning up, telling him to get up and get on with his day. And he stayed asleep. Al's mother called to him to tell him, yo, it's almost noon. I raised you better than that. You ain't got no business sleeping all day. Get up. And then he woke up to his phone being blown up. There was a whole bunch of text messages on his phone, but the house was still a mess. Did y'all notice that? And if she was there cleaning, you know, she would have did it right. And Ern, we didn't even see him in the episode, but Ern called to check in with him. And, you know, it kind of felt like there was something Ern was being a little tender about, but we weren't sure about it, you know? And it was because Ern was aware that today is the anniversary of Al's mother's death. So it was a hard day for Al, period. And maybe that's why Darius was like, are you sure you want to go out with her? You know, like, is that really what you want to do on today? And who knows, maybe Darius was trying to be sweet to his boy and make him some pasta because he knew what today was. Another thing that was said in that article that I thought was really cool is Alfred is very Alana, okay? And in this episode, him knowing the streets, him knowing Alana, him knowing how to get around, him knowing how to survive in the woods, he was completely out of control. He was in his own environment, but he was in an environment within his environment that he was absolutely out of control of. He was lost. He was just out of it, you know? And at the very end of the episode, there was a really cool moment where they showed him transition from being in the forest to concrete. And we all had a sigh of relief when we saw his feet hit the pavement because we knew he was safe now. In the moment that Wally said, keep standing still or you're going to be gone, it was a double meaning, you know? It meant in that moment, because in that moment, how many times can I say that? Alfred had sat down. He saw that he was going in circles, lost out in the woods, and he passed that deer again. We heard the flies. We saw the carcass. He said, keep standing still, you're going to be gone. That was a representation to physically tell him, get up and get out of these woods. But also, again, like I was just saying, I do not want Alfred to change who he is. I want Alfred to remain true, because what's the point? What's the point if you can't be yourself? Why would you sell out to please other people? Be you. And I love that about him. And it pisses me off that everybody else wants him to change, but keep moving or you'll be gone. Alfred does kind of have a closed mind. He feels like in a rebellious way, he has to be like, nah, screw that. I'm not going to sell out. I'm not about to wear these Aladdin shoes, like he said in this episode. I'm not about to wear this. I'm not about to wear that. I'm going to be me. There has been an unspoken thing being said all throughout this season since I believe episode 2, when they went to that little Spotify thing, and it is coming at Ern not being a good manager to Alfred. Throughout this whole season and last season also, Alfred's fame is growing and growing, and if he wants to be propelled to the next level, he needs to keep going or he's going to be gone, just like Wally said. And I love Ern. So he either needs to have a sit down with Ern and be like, yo, I love you, you're my family, but you either need to really, really make some bigger moves as far as being my manager, or I'm going to need to move on. Just like when he was in the studio talking to Clark County was like, yo, my manager, he always is finding stuff for me to do. He got me that commercial. He got me the Fast and the Furious soundtrack, you know? So there's a big decision coming up. We got 2 episodes left that needs to be made by Alfred about his future and his relationship with Ern. And again, another thing that was said this season by Cat Williams' character, Ern said, no, I'm managing Al. And he was like, oh, so y'all are keeping it in the family. And he said something along the lines of, that didn't work out very well in our family before. So if y'all want to do that, that's cool. But it might kind of screw up your guys' relationship. So I am really hoping that if Ern does make the big decision to get a completely new manager, that they can still be on good terms. Or if he does have a sit down with Ern, like, yo, you need to change it up. If you need to go take some classes, if you need to go to management school, whatever is out there, you need to get on it because this is not working out. If Al needs to continue to move on, he doesn't need to be stunted. He doesn't need to be limited by Ern's inexperience in not being able to give Alfred the opportunities that he needs. In this article, it says, why does Al offer to do this on his own? Even flashing a bloodstained smile for a picture after picture while this guy gets the perfect shot. It's proof of life to a degree, but also an acknowledgement that Sierra and old Wally are right. Al can't just stand around scowling and assuming that everything will work out for him while he's here being real. He actually has to work and keep climbing the ladder so he can get free stuff and have someone who is not his disapproving mother cleaning his house and avoiding random encounters on the street with guys looking to rob him. Every time something happens to Alfred where people are trying to tell him to change, but he is so adamant on saying, yo, I'm going to stay real to me. I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing because it's what got me where I am. But every single time he leaves the house, in the episode Teddy Perkins, he was in the episode for 2 seconds, going through the drive-thru at a fast food restaurant. And he can't even go get some food without people trying to hook him up, give him extra fries. Oh, you're a paper boy. Can I get a picture? He needs to understand that some people are crazy and he's not safe all the time. And because of his success, because of who he is, because he's making more money, because he's going to have nice things, people are going to be out to get him. And in the name of Robbin's season, I would be really upset if something bad happened to him because he's choosing to... I mean, I'm sure that those dudes stole his phone, you know, or his phone got damaged or he lost, whatever. Or after the situation with that girl, Sierra. Yes, his mother died. Yes, he wants to be alone, but he could have called a cab. He could have called Ern. Well, no, Ern doesn't have a car. He could have called Darius, and I know Darius would have came to get him. You know what I mean? But he chose to walk. He's trying to be real. He's trying to stay true to who he is. But because he chose to just take it on foot and go home, he endangered himself. And you just have to be smarter. He needs to be more cautious. And I'm not saying lock yourself up in a big bougie house in Hollywood, but he needs to be careful. He just needs to be careful because everybody is thirsty for fame right now. It's Robbin season. Christmas season approaches and everybody got to eat. I don't know how long Robbin season is in Atlanta, but still, he's just not safe and he needs to be careful. Do you guys think something crazy is going to happen to Paperboy in the next 2 episodes? That is my main question for the episode. If you want to put your comments down below on what you think. Week after week, this show continues to make me evaluate myself. It makes me think very deeply. It's so incredible how different this show is, how there's nothing else like it anywhere. And I am a fan, like everybody else out there, of Donald Glover, of Childish Gambino. But you know how, I don't know, music is very intimate, music is very personal. And when I'm sitting around binging watching TV shows, it's personal too. It's just me and my screen. So the relationship that I have with Donald Glover, the relationship that I have with Childish Gambino's music, it's personal. And I actually have probably met one other person that listened to Childish Gambino's music. Online, I see all of y'all on the comments. I hear all of y'all talking about how much you love him, Instagram, seeing him perform at the Grammys, seeing him on Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel, all that, you know. I see that, but in my world, I'm the only one, you know, here in the present, in the flesh. So it's a beautiful time. It's a beautiful moment to be witnessing Donald Glover's genius and his incredible talent with so many other people. I'm a really, really big fan of his, and I am so happy because about 5 or 6 years ago when I first started listening to him, I just couldn't believe it because he's so different. He's a black dude, he was nerdy, he's weird, he didn't sound like anybody else. And then I started watching him on Community and seeing his stand-ups and knowing that he was writing a hilarious script for 30 Rock, and he's just so different. And I am so happy for him, and I just wish him all the success in the world. But I just personally am grateful to him for this unique show and where it puts me and what it does for me emotionally. And it's like mental food, you know, like he's nourishing me with this show. It is so clever and so insightful. I am smitten with Donald Glover. No, it was great. I really, really, really enjoyed the episode. So again, if you enjoyed it like I did, please give me your comments down below about what you think, and leave a like, hit that notification bell, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Sierra. Yes, it's gotten darker. I'm working on editing this video, and I just keep thinking of things that I need to say. In the very first scene throughout this discussion that we've had since the episode, we know that Al's mother is no longer with us. And while I was editing it, I actually kind of got a little emotional because when you lose a parent, I lost my mother when I was 15 years old. She died in her sleep. She had a substance abuse problem, and she didn't overdose, but she just died in her sleep one night. She was 41 years old, and her heart just gave out, you know. But I mean, I thank God for the time I had with her, and she's in a better place now. But just when I was watching it back and I was editing it, you know, when you're editing it, you have to rewind over a little moment after moment. And he hears his mother saying, "Get up, I know I raised you better than that. This house is a mess." And he wakes up later on, and he gets up and he looks back and sees that she's not really there. And it's like, there were so many times, like, you know, when you lose somebody, you're like, man, I would take a beating from my mom for her to come back to see her one more time. I would be, you know, man, if I could get her back for one moment and she was snapping on me for eating cookies when I wasn't supposed to, or getting an F on a test, you know, just things like that. Like, and he was trying to sleep, and she was in the dining room clunking around, being all loud and making noise, but that's what moms do, you know? And it was just like, it was just one of those precious moments that you have with people that you don't have anymore, you know? Those precious moments that you never think about while you have somebody, but when they're gone, just bringing in the newspaper and handing it to them, going and checking the mail and giving it to them, getting up, going downstairs, getting the remote and handing it to them when they're right in front of the TV, and going right back upstairs, you know, not having to do that again. So, yeah, it was just a thought that I had, you know. You just, they say people don't get flowers while they can still smell them. So go call your mama, text her, tell her you love her, for all of us that don't have a mother.
for most parents, I know for my parents especially my father, you having money means you made it. You know what I mean? You having money means you made it, but I don't think we ever thought about when you have the money and there's no one there. You know, my mother was an educator, but she taught in inner city schools, and I lost her a year ago, and she is still one of the most important people in my life. And I will say that a big reason why I got into acting was because I wanted to spoil her so bad. Like, I wanted to, what I call caking her, you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to cake her out. Like, I wanted her to have the best car. I wanted her to have the house with a dock by the lake. What I never accounted for was that I wouldn't have her when I got that. I make all the money, but the person I wanted to spend it on the most is no longer here. I know she's proud. I think the thing I have to do is be proud of myself, because she's not here for me to cake her.